Welcome to the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with the support you need to finish your book. Best part is, after you finish your book, they take care of the entire publishing and marketing process 100% for you. So, if you want to become a successful author, make sure to check out authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today, I have Ranald Hendriks with us. He is an award-winning behavioral expert with 30 years experience consulting to organizations large and small. He's based in New Zealand and consults globally to clients who are committed to improving fairness in the employment relationship. So welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Tyler.
I'm pumped to have you here, dude. So let's dive into the first one. The first one I got for you is, what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
I always go back to a time in 1994 when I was doing a personal development training course, and the person who was facilitating it asked us to go through this meditation of perceiving things, I suppose. And at the end of this process, she was asking people what they got from this, and they were all telling their experience. And when it came to me, I went to tell my experience, and I sort of expected to get a gold star and be the one that was going to win, which is a pretty strange thing to do. And I came to this huge realization that hit me smack in the head that the world as I see it is only as I see it. That, there's 7.7 billion people in the world, so there's at least that many ways to look at the same thing. So it was an incredibly humbling experience to realize that what I think is right and what my perception is only my perception, and that widening back and considering all of these different other perceptions, it was just a huge eye-opener for me. So that would be the most valuable message that I could have, I think.
And then what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
I think the high performance of people, it actually has nothing to do with subjective factors like race or gender or age or sexual orientation or qualifications. It's actually to do with behaviors, and that's how people do what they do. So, I think every employer has a humanitarian responsibility to contribute to social practice in the workplace, and because that goes back when they go home to their children, their families, and contributes to the whole social fabric of society. And I think that responsibility of employers is largely misunderstood and unknown, and it has such huge effects on the happiness of the world.
And what is your best piece of overall business advice, so not necessarily industry specific?
Well, I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, and I think that they've all come down to values conflicts. So irrespective of what that values conflict is, it's usually to do with another person or another business. So it would be being really clear from the outset about what individual priorities are with different people, and getting clear and doing that foundational work right at the very beginning, at every opportunity, rather than just going through into things without proper planning, etc.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Probably not to resist parts of experiences that I may have. That what you resist in yourself tends to persist. So actually embrace uncertainty and the unknown, and be your best friend. Don't criticize yourself as you learn and grow.
And kind of going a little bit down a different path, in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
Well, recognizing you're not the being you're being, that you're far more magnificent than you could ever have imagined. So, adopting that viewpoint enables you to see that all other people just like you, are works of art, really, doing the best they can.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
It's actually a series of books. It would be the Conversations with God books by Neil Donald Walsh. He was an American guy, and he wrote a book, Home with God and a Life That Never Ends. And they're not religious books. In fact, he suggested if you've got a problem with the word God, then replace that with the word life, so that would be Conversations with Life, or looking at things in that way. They helped me get over grief of losing my sisters that passed early, and they're a catalyst for people to reflect on their own consciousness, and they're very helpful for anybody wanting to perhaps explore mindfulness, actually, I think.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
What other people think of me is none of my business.
I like that one.
It's usually our projection of what we think on people and what we think they're believing that cause us to react the way that we're reacting. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. It was a pleasure. The last one I have for you before we let you go is, where's the best place for our audience to find and or connect with you online?
Well, they can do that probably by spelling my name correctly, which is Ranald, and Hendriks, Hendriks. And they can find me on LinkedIn or at my website, hendriksbhcs.com.
Perfect, man. Thanks again for jumping on.
Hey, cheers, Tyler.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.